Hi, Sanchit.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Very good. I'm just admitting few people and then we get started.
Sure.
And just as a precaution, I'm also making you co-host just in case of any network issue or something.
No worries.
Now it says that I can only make you host. I don't know what has happened for host. Okay, so we get started. Good afternoon, all, and welcome to the HIGMID talk again for the Youth Ideathon, which is today's talk is brought to us by Topper, and we have a great young, amazing entrepreneur, right? Sanchit Govil, who's founder of Lal10. And I'm not sure how many of you, because most of you are school students, how many of you would actually have seen Lal10? But Lal10 is one of the most amazing stories. And I got to know about Lal10 from one of Sanchit's teachers, right? Professor Mandi Prasad, who runs the Mandi program at NITI Mumbai, which is a business school. And for all these years, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Sanchit from him. All good words, Sanchit, from Professor, which is still an honor for anyone. And so Sanchit is here with us. Sanchit, this is for all the school students who are interested in entrepreneurship, who are interested in innovation. And my request to you is if we can, just as a language, if we can make things which would be understood by school students, that would be great. Boys and girls,
Right.
will be very happy if you can ask your questions. For the moment, I'm going to put everyone on mute for some time, and after a few questions, then we'll have the more interactive participation. So at the moment, I'm going to put everyone on mute, and
Right.
I'll be asking 2 or 3 questions from Sanchit, and from thereafter, you can get started and talk to him. But meanwhile, don't stop asking your question in the chat box, and I'll be very happy to read those questions, and I'll give you a chance to speak with Sanchit directly, because he's a star. Just to give you a background, Forbes 30 under 30. Now, Forbes 30 under 30 means that Forbes magazine prepared the list of 30 most successful people who are under the age of 30, and Sanchit got figured. Sanchit, how does it feel? I need to unmute you, right? Please unmute, Sanchit. Could you unmute?
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Sanjeev sir, for this opportunity today. In fact, so as you rightly started, so I think teachers and professors do play a great amount of role in shaping your thoughts in early days, right? And I think that's what Mandi sir did to me and to my co-founder as well during our time at NITI. A lot of enthusiasm and a lot of vigor to start something and to do something is coming from him, and he always keeps motivating and inspiring us. So I think uh, to have someone at that position, to have a teacher or a professor guiding you, I think that's something which is kind of very motivating and inspiring for anyone's journey, for any entrepreneur and for anyone who want to sort of take their own path and start something from their own. I think that's something which we were kind of very fortunate and lucky during our college days. And yeah, I think over time, sir, as we got covered with different features and different articles, I think this has kind of added more responsibility to our shoulders in terms of how we want to grow or impact, how we want to grow something that we are doing currently with artisans and SMEs on our supply end. And I think coming on to with the Forbes feature also that happened 2 years back, I think that was something which was more of a highlight for us in terms of people recognizing the kind of work we are doing and appreciating us in terms of how we have built this organization gradually, and making sure that we have taken that step gradually with each and every karigar onto our side. And I think, yeah, it feels really good that, such kind of appreciation comes along your way. So it gives that motivation to be in that journey that we have
Fantastic.
started.
So, Sanchit, for the benefit of all the listeners and these, again, school students, describe what is Lal 10, right? I love the name Lal 10, right? And, I grew up in a small city in Bihar, small town in Bihar. And, we had this Lal 10 through which, the light would come and we would do studies and all that. So,
Right, right.
okay. So what is it? What is Lal 10?
So I think you rightly quoted, sir. So that's what it all started about, right? Because if you travel to tier 3, tier 4 rural parts, narrow lanes of the country, you will definitely find kind people working. And I think we're talking about 5 to 6 years back, when there was a dearth of lights and electricity in different villages. So I think that's what we were trying to sort of implement into our model, and making sure that we are getting products and we are giving visibility to karigars in the country. And so that's what we stand for, sir, and that's what our name also signifies, of how we can sort of bring light into the lives of karigars that we are working with, and at the same time making sure that we provide them a good platform, we provide them good opportunity in growing their business as well.
Lovely. And Sanchit, I didn't know the reason why you are named Lal 10, and very, very novel, right? And we want to bring lights in the lives of karigars, right? So that is Lal 10. Could you explain to our listeners what Lal 10 does? What is the core business?
So we see our core stands for working with karigars, helping them in making good design products, and sort of implementing these products and selling these products, I would say, to markets in India and abroad. So our major, value addition is that we want to provide each and every karigar a platform and an opportunity to grow their business. Right. So that can happen through a lot of channels. That is something that we are kind of, I would say, still figuring it out. We have some good channels of selling the products for these carriers, but our main core is that we want to provide them more of accessibility, provide them more of knowledge, more of information, and more of learning.
Right. Thanks, Sanchit. And just for the benefit of our viewers, when Sanchit is using the word karigar, he is talking about artisans. And these are the artisans who make fashion products, call it saris, call it dupattas, it could be the kurtas and kurtis, and it could be some jewelry. And
इंटरनेट चला गया.
sorry, Ankit, I got lagged out. So just for the benefit of for our viewers, I just wanted to communicate that when artists, Sanchit is talking about karigars, these are all the handicraft people who make saris, dupattas, and all that. So Sanchit, what all kind of products do you offer on Lal 10's platform?
So sir, ये जो कारीगर हैं, they are making handicrafts basically and handloom products. तो हम लोग handloom कपड़ा बनाते हैं, we are making clothes. Then we are also making a lot of home furnishing products, apparels बनाते हैं हम लोग kind of. So if you go to for example Fab India store, you'll find a lot of ethnic apparel या home furnishing items. तो ये all these
Right.
items are made by these karigars only. Obviously karigar ka the finishing level of a product of a karigar might be different, so that's where we kind of come in with the help of our design team also and our sourcing team also, जहाँ पे हम थोड़ा knowledge infer करते हैं, थोड़ा make sure करते हैं कि there are proper QCs and quality checks done, so that product can be more marketable. हम product को which it's become a more sellable product for any karigar in the market.
Fantastic. And tell me something. See, this is a age-old trade, right? So karigars,
Right.
right, since time immemorial, they were making stuff. and through multiple channels, those products will hit a shop where people, consumers would go and buy those things. So how is Lal10's model different?
And that's a very valid question, sir. So I think what we have done is that it's important because it's kind of a age-old, kind of a traditional sector, as you rightly mentioned. So first of all, for us, it was important to understand how the ecosystem for any Karigar or for a small and medium enterprise, which is located in tier 3 and tier 4 city, how the ecosystem for them is operating, right? So we have spent a good amount of time in understanding each and every cluster, each and every state. Kafi travel we care, we stayed a lot with the Karigars also. And I think uske baad it was important for us that we kind of create solutions for them. And the only thing that we, as entrepreneurs understand better is technology and business, right? So I think technology is something which has been kind of lacking from this sector for long. There are a lot of solutions that can be created and are created, which can help bring in more efficiency and scale the business for any Karigar. So I think that's where we come in, where we are making sure that we have good tech products which are available to the Karigars to kind of upload their products, do a cataloging for their products, and finally making sure that they are better managing their product inventory and also managing their business better. So I think that the kind of platform created, the kind of products created helped Karigars at one level. Another level is where we need to make sure that we're giving them the right knowledge transfer in terms of what design can work out in which country, or what kind of product can work out in which of the metropolitan cities even in India. So that's where I think that's one of the other reasons I would say where some of the SMEs and Karigars associated with us have been working with us for long in terms of, and there has been a gradual learning graph for them also in terms of understanding how the business cycle operates for any of the buyers in metro cities and metropolitan cities, and how we can sort of plug their products and their understanding into that cycle. So I think that was something which we kind of did from our end, and this has kind of helped us to grow in the sector, and along with our growth, making sure that the Karigars and SMEs are also growing along with us.
Fantastic. So to all the people who have joined in, we have Sanchit Govil, co-founder of Lal10, and he's describing his journey of entrepreneurship. And this is a HIGMID talk, which is brought to us by Topper today for the MEPSC Bajaj Allianz Youth Ideathon. Now, I have Avay Bhalla, who is raised his hand. And Avay, I'm going to unmute you and allow you to ask a question. So Avya, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah.
Hello, sir. My question for Sanchit sir is like as he is an entrepreneur and started his own business. So I just want to ask that like whenever like I have felt it that like whenever we try to do something like for me especially, I have like on the other hand I have one thought that stuck my mind that if this idea that I am going with, if this will not work well, the investments I will be doing in that will also be in vain, and I will also be like I will not have that much that I can do it another time. So how to fight that unconscious that insecurity that especially I have while creating my own idea.
So Sanchit, you understand this dilemma.
Right.
करे या ना करे, पैसा
every time,
बर्बाद
yes.
होगा तो क्या कहेंगे लोग, क्या कहें, all that, right? So over to you.
Yeah, so I think very well said, Avya. So I think this is something that we all go through, every day, every month, and I would say every year. We think about, how things are going to shape up and what will happen if this is not going to work out. And I think it's important that step, because with every step that we are taking, whether we are reaching to a success or to a failure, I think it's important that we are learning something during our journey and during our process. So if you kind of feel that learning is something which is helping you grow, and that is something which is kind of making sure that even if you fail at something, you might want to stand up again and start something on your own. So that will really help you along the way. So I think it's about its initial, I would say, inertia and inhibition to start to take that first step. But I think if you take that and if you move in that direction, you will really enjoy what you are doing, and you'll keep learning along the way. And I think that's the most important part.
Thanks, Sanchit. Well explained. And what Sanchit is saying is these are the dilemmas that we face. But in the journey, if learning is not there, and that learning perhaps keeps on pulling you into the sorry, Saransh Srivastav, would you want to ask your question? I'm going to unmute yourself. Please unmute, Saransh. Yeah.
First of all, good evening, sir, and thank you for the valuable knowledge you provided us with till now. I have two questions. First of my question is like, what are the most important entrepreneur traits in your mind? And also, my second question is a situational based question. Like sometimes when we open a startup, we are running it, and after some time, we need to make updations to that startup, and that
Hmm.
updation should be unique so that people would attract to us. People would attract to our startup. So how is the thinking behind this unique ideas go on after you open and startup to update that startup?
Great. So I think it's a so on your couple of things. So I think first and foremost important is obviously how well you are kind of understanding the market, and it depends a lot on the kind of market research you keep doing for your idea and for your product. So I think that's where the update comes from, because eventually whatever you start doing, in that case you need to know the market first, and also the type of competition or type of other players which are there in the market, because and that's where you keep updating your learning and keep updating yourself that this is how the market is performing and how other people are there in the market with such kind of offerings and such scenarios. So that is something which really helps you sort of conceptualize how you want to take things ahead, definitely. And I think that happens with everyone, I believe. So that is something which is, I think, part and parcel of for every business. And once you start kind of doing your own thing, and so it can be a physical product or it can be a tech product these days, as you must have seen. So I think that will happen along the way. And so what was your first question actually?
Roshan, you can speak, unmute and speak. Sorry, who? Not Roshan. Whose question was that?
Right. So I think Shivastav, maybe, I think he asked about the traits, right? So I think
Yeah, the traits. Yeah.
yeah. So I think
Saransh.
persistence, Saransh, right? So persistence and patience are two very important traits, definitely. Once you are starting up, because I think you need to have that patience of keep trying again and again, because obviously out of 10 things that you are planning, 8 of the 9 of the things are not going to work out, right? So, and it's going to happen that a lot of times when things are not working out, so you might want to kind of keep away from this journey, or you might want to lose this journey. I think it's important that you want to continue along the way to have that persistence. This is something which is very important, to just keep on trying and keep going.
Right. So, Sanchit, well said, right? And, when you were saying patience and persistence, I was reminded of Angela Duckworth-Lewis, and to everyone who want to learn more about this, go and watch a nice video on grit, 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 right? Which is by Angela Duckworth-Lewis, and
Right.
you will learn more about patience and persistence, which is, and according to her, grit is a multiplier of patience and persistence. And thanks, Ankit, for bringing that question. I have a hand raised from Divit, but before that, Divit, I have a short question from Ankit, And sorry, from Sanchit. And Sanchit, you know that HIGMID stands for how I got my idea.
Right.
So that's a secret question. Tell us.
So I think so. I have been born and brought up in Aligarh, right? So Aligarh it lies in western UP, very close to Delhi NCR, 2.5 hour, 3 hours journey. And I think so. Over the years, growing up in Aligarh, have seen the family business, have seen everyone doing business, and I think that was kind of one of the reasons. As I grew up, I wanted to start my own business and do something of my own, right? So that's where I think the kind of fervor in me to start something started. And also when I saw an opportunity in terms of how today the sector of handicrafts is in India, how unorganized the sector is, and how, and it at the same time it has a huge business potential and opportunity which lies both in India and abroad. So I think that's what I identified as a gap. That's where I can sort of devote my time, my energies, and my learnings, and kind of help and grow this business and grow that opportunity for the cargos. So I think that was, so it kind of coupled both of these things coupled for me to kind of leave my job at Flipkart and come along this journey. And I today I think I'm very grateful of what kind of opportunities lies ahead and how we are growing the business. So I think yes, I think that's something which is happening good for us, and I'm hoping that from here onwards we'll be creating more and more impact for these SMEs going forward.
Fantastic. So Divit, I'm going to come to you and asking you to unmute. I'm unmuting you. Yeah, please ask your question.
First of all, thank you for this meeting. It is very knowledgeable for us. So my first question is, is it very important for an entrepreneur to be a businessman, or it can be any other? She can have any other job, or is it important to be a businessman?
I think so. You learn business along the way. So no one comes with the learning, with the prescribed learning, or with already a learned mind when they start their own business. I think that's the best. The beauty of this is you start learning things when you start your journey. So I think that is something which is more exciting, and it kind of grows your, it grows your thought process a lot as you start the journey. So I don't see a need of having some particular traits or particular learning beforehand to start a business. It's something which is more on the job learning, and you enjoy that part of learning on the way.
Great.
Thank you. And my second question is like you must know there is a competition going on, Youth Ideathon, where we have to post an idea. So what should be the correct mindset to develop that idea of anything, to save anything?
To develop an idea, I think it's important. So for an idea to develop and sort of uh, turn into a feasible sort of product or a business, I think it's important. It comes with a lot of strong market research backing. So I think if you are confident about that, you feel that this is the kind of problem you want to solve for any of the stakeholders, for any of the people involved in your business, and if you can solve that problem and you think your solution is kind of helping them solve that problem, so I think you should go ahead with the idea in that case.
Right. So that was, David's question was like FAQ on how to crack the youth ideathon. David, thank you for that question. Sanchit, if to any person who is in this room, if you have any question, you can put in the chat box, and from there I will pick and I will unmute you to ask you the question. Sanchit, meanwhile, I have two questions in my head. Number
Sure.
one, how did you find your co-founder, and how easy or difficult is it to work with co-founders?
I think so. Yeah, I think very important and valid question, right? For any co-founder and for any business. So I think co-founders bring a lot of complementary abilities and I would say qualities in the business and in the entrepreneurial journey, and that's what I think co-founders are needed for. So because everyone comes with their own experience and with their own skill set, so that's where you kind of grow things together. You want to you plug in with your own expertise and experience, the other person plug in with his own expertise, and that's where things start growing at a good pace. And I think that's something which is very important, that and it's, I think it's very fortunate also sometimes, that you find the right person along with your journey to kind of because in that case both of us need to have the same kind of vision and the same kind of hunger and passion to grow the business. And I think that's something we have been very fortunate. So we are three co-founders together working on this, and I think that really helps in kind of building this at the pace that we want, because we all come in with our own set of experience and our own understanding of different legs of the business. And I think that's where we are kind of growing at the pace that we want to.
Great, great answer, and great learning for all of us, friends. So he's talking about complementary skills, and also to be constantly in that learning mindset, and also to be working collaboratively, right? There will be disagreements so between people, but you have to learn to sort it out, right? And make the damn venture work. And venture is more important than the people. So that's what is the message from Sanchit. Sanchit, from me, the last question, and boys and girls, if you have any question, put in the chat box, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask question to the very learned and very experienced 30 other 30 founder that we have, Sanchit Govil. Sanchit, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in building Lal10?
I think for me, so to be very frank, there were a lot of challenges, and there's still a lot of challenges in scaling what I'm doing. But I think the biggest challenge for me, which I think is because for me, my carigars and my artisans are the most, they are the beneficiaries of my supply chain and of the value that I'm creating. So I think the biggest challenge comes in having that trust, in having that value added to their chain and to their business and to their life cycle. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I have faced in my last 4 years of this journey. But I think that is something that we enjoy talking to these people. We want to make sure that we do create value for their business and for their product. So I think that is again, again kind of a learning phase for us. But I think that has been the most challenging part, and I think the most opportunistic part as well, where we have kind of made sure that we have done something, at least for some of them, not all of them, but we know that we want to do a lot of things for a lot of them, right? So I think that's where one of my biggest challenge has been in the last couple of years. And to be very frank, I'm still trying to overcome a lot of challenges in growing this supply, in growing this base for my products.
Great. So just quick follow-on question. Manas has a short question in the chat box, but a follow from me. And I really loved the two words which you said, right? To create value for your stakeholders, the carriers, and it's also opportunity. So a balance between the value that you create for your stakeholders on the backward side of the supply chain, and also to seize the opportunity, right? Any quick anecdote on what people, your carriers, tell you?
So they always keep telling of so they always have a mindset of us bringing in more business. I think they know that we as a platform can do that for them, right? So they obviously expect such kind of interventions happening from our end. So they are always in terms of that they want to do less, but they want to make it right. They want to develop a right product. they want to do less, but they want that they have a certain visibility कि कितना आगे business grow कर सकता है और कितना हम लोग एक better product बना सकते हैं. So I think
Great.
one common factor that I've seen is they would always want to do less, but with the right quality and mindset.
Wow. Great insight, Sanchit. First, Manas. Manas, please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, good evening, sir. Sir, my question is that we say that the great ideas come from great thinking. So how can we use our mind in it?
So Manas's question is, how do you develop great thinking?
I think see I what I see today as kind of, so it's important. I know that at an early age it's very important to kind of expand your horizon and to kind of expand your thought process that way. So I think today we have a lot of content which is available, a lot of journeys from different people that they have taken. They have a lot of paths different people have taken, and I think there are a lot of content around it. There are a lot of good books that you can read. So I think that really helps you in kind of thinking with a different direction, and it gives you that sense of motivation a lot. So I think if you want to really kind of develop your thinking and you want to have kind of a, I would say, tickling mind where you want to kind of create value for someone and start your own business. So I think the best way to is to kind of read a lot, watch a lot of content. Today a lot of data is available on YouTube, right? And I think some good videos, inspirational talks, that might help you in that direction.
Thanks, Sanchit. Shrishti Senani wants to ask a question. Shrishti, could you
Good
unmute?
evening, sir. I wanted to ask that what's the biggest factor that has helped you to be successful, and who was your inspiration throughout your journey?
Can you please come again?
So what was the biggest factor that helped you? That was the biggest reason for your success, and who has helped you the most in this journey?
I think so. It's been close to 5 years now. So what really helped us is that we have kept nudging each other during this part of our 5 years. We have kept each other. We have kept asking questions, and we have kept each other at bay a lot of times. So that has really helped in kind of developing that mindset that all three of us have today. And so I think that's where you kind of learn. So it's a co-learning process, right? So and that's when we talk about all different stakeholders and our different co-founders, right? So I think for me, I think that has been the strength where we have kind of made sure that we are pushing each other, we are kind of questioning each other along the way of what other person is doing, and at the same time making sure that at the end of the day, I know that I'm answerable for what I'm handling today and what I'm doing for the business. So I think that really keeps you a lot of things in check. That really keeps you pushing to do and achieve more. Actually,
Thanks, Sanchit. Sriya Nayak, would you like to ask your question? Please unmute. Sriya, she has put a question there in the chat box. So Sriya's question.
I think both of these things, to an extent, are related and to an extent are not related as well. So I think it has to be a risk-taking part that I would want to go ahead with, because that's where once you start doing that, I think uh, you realize you kind of experiment more and you kind of learn more in that process. But because initial experiments, I believe, are very important to kind of shape your next stage of growth. So yeah, so that's what I believe in actually.
Right. So Sriya just sent a message that I cannot mute myself, so there's some problem. But Sriya, I think Sachin gave a great answer, and he's saying that he tilts more on the side of risk taking, because when he takes risk, there's more learning, and there are more learning opportunities, right? Boys and girls, if you have any question, we can take one last question. Otherwise, Sachin, otherwise, Sanchit, it was such a pleasure. The clarity with which you spoke and you made things lucid, I really admire. And thanks. Okay, so Sriya has got a last question, and this is very interesting. And her last question is, sir, since you're also a leader, can we be friends with our competitors?
Every time, yes. I think yes, every time, because eventually, I think it's important to grow together. So even if we're talking about competition, so at the end of the day, you would want to know what your competition is doing, how they are growing their business, how they are learning along their way. But eventually, there is a lot of respect that comes from for other entrepreneur, even if they're talking about the competitor, right? So I think that's something which is very important, that you sort of respect the other person's journey, you respect other person's thought process, and I think that is when we collectively can grow the community.
Fantastic. And Sanchit, great. Good to hear such refreshing thoughts from you. And, very grateful that you could make it. And, on behalf of everyone, a round of applause to you for doing this for the Youth Hackathon at the HIGMID talk. And wish you a great success. We want Lal10 to be connecting all the thousands and lakhs of all the karigars who are there, and to become successful and make wonders to bring Lal10 into their lives. So
Thank
good
you.
to have
Thank you
you
so much, sir.
And boys and girls, we are going to connect again very soon. Tomorrow we have another very exciting entrepreneur, and he runs a venture which is called Tinkerly, which is around science. And if you are interested, please do join. And until then, goodbye.